Welcome everybody to Football Discussion Daily. My name is Joe here with the co-host
Gio.
CGO or George. Today is the 21st of February 2026 and we are talking about quite a lot of interesting results today. I'll start with France and just say league leaders Lens lost at home to Monaco, which allowed PSG, who won today, to overtake them in the league. Still quite a lot of the season left, but it should be fascinating to see the end of the season. Bayern won. They have a pretty handy lead in the Bundesliga, and they were able to extend that. Como beat Juventus, and Inter won. I think it was Lecce at home today, which puts them in a pretty good position in Serie A. It'd be very unlikely for them not to win that title, but there's still a lot of soccer to play. Madrid lost to Osasuna for the first time in a very long time, if not ever, I believe, which also gives Barcelona the opportunity to go top La Liga. And of course, in England Premier League, we had Aston Villa draw, we had Brentford lost to Brighton, we had Chelsea draw to Burnley, we had West Ham and Bournemouth draw, and Manchester City beat Newcastle. George, I think we should focus a majority of this on EPL, but let's just talk through out of the non-EPL games, was there anything surprising, anything that you thought was just out of the ordinary today?
Yeah, the ones that are surprising to me is Real Madrid losing to Osasuna because they have a very good record against Osasuna. Before that game, they have a 24-match unbeaten run against that team. So, and apart from that, Real Madrid, since Abiola came, they've maintained about eight match winning streak in the Spanish La Liga. So when you look at those statistics, you feel that Real Madrid should go into that game and defeat Osasuna, but somehow it didn't go that way. Today, Osasuna came and did what nobody expected. So it's a very big surprise. So that's one game that surprised me today. That means Barcelona has the opportunity of overtaking Real Madrid when they play against Levante tomorrow. Most likely, Barcelona will likely win that game against Levante because they'll be playing at Nou Camp. So if Barcelona wins tomorrow, it will come to me as a surprise. So that's what I have to say. What do you think about the game?
I watched the highlights. The first goal from Osasuna was fantastic. I do feel like Madrid, you know, they have this weird dynamic where there's so much talent there, but they kind of fired a coach for letting them run undisciplined, for trying to discipline them. And Arbeloa is very much a player's coach, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out throughout the end of the season. I think that their squad makeup lends themselves much better to Champions League, and we've seen that just over the last decade with just their trophy haul. And I think this year is no different. They have a lot of very exceptional players, but again, um, not as much discipline or structure, and I feel like it leads to just random results like this. So it's harder to be sustained success in La Liga, especially when you're facing such a good Barcelona team. It's really hard for me to say without. I didn't watch the game today, um, but that is kind of my take after watching several Madrid games this year and in the past, and I feel like that kind of is the ethos of the club. All right, George. Other results. Is there any other result outside of England you'd like to talk about today? I know.
The game between Juve and Como. Honestly, we must give credit to Cesc Fabregas because I still remember that Como was last season they came into the Serie A, and then and then we had Cesc Fabregas handling the team, and then coming this second season, performing very well. Currently, they're on the sixth position, which is quite a very good achievement, going by the nature of the club. So, Cesc Fabregas is doing a very good job. I won't be surprised if at the end of the season one of the big clubs in Europe comes to grab him. I won't be surprised because the team is really playing very well. I love the way they play their game. They play a kind of attractive football,
Yeah.
which is something I enjoy about the team. So credit must go to him, and I see him going places.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, sometimes coaches on the up and up jump too early. I hope Fabregas, I always called him Fiberglass when he was playing. But I hope that he makes that decision well. I mean, Xabi Alonso, he's not in a too dissimilar position than Xabi Alonso was 2 or 3 years ago after 2 years of coaching. So I will see how his career plays out, but definitely promising. He's still under 40, I think. I think he's born in 87.
It's
So
less, yeah,
quite young. There's James Milner, 654th Premier League appearance today, older
yeah,
than Czech Fiberglass. I'm probably he's also older than Fabian Hertzler, his own manager. So I will say
yeah.
briefly about that game. Brentford played like crap. I think another interesting result today that is not in the top league was Wrexham. They've gotten 3 straight promotions, and they are in sixth, fifth place in the champ. They're in the playoff
League.
spots for the championship.
Yes,
It
yes,
is
yes, yes.
exceptional what they're doing. They beat a team that was in the Premier League last year, Ipswich today, 4-3. It is incredible, just like to basically go from non-league to championship in 4 years and even have a chance. I don't think they'll get promoted, but it's really exceptional what is happening there, and it's definitely exciting. I'm the championship season. I have been following quite a bit, and we're gonna get. I think we're gonna get 2 or 3 fresh faces. We're not gonna see like the Norwiches who've been in the Premier League in the past, West Brom in the last 10 years. We'll see some teams that haven't been in there in quite a while, so it's exciting.
Well, for me, I will write Wrexham out when it comes to getting promoted because any team that comes to play the playoff, anything can happen. We saw that happen in the last playoff for uh, the promotion to the Premier League. And we saw what transpired in that playoff. The team we least expected to get promoted got promoted. So that can also happen again. So don't be surprised if you see that happen this time around. Nobody expected Sunderland to get promotion,
And
but
they're doing very well.
they came and surprised everyone and got promoted. And see what you're doing in the Premier League today. So never write any team that finds their way into the playoff. They might come
Yeah,
out and get everyone surprised at the end of the day.
it's just so exceptional to have 4 or 5 straight promotions, like 4 straight promotions, and then even talking about because like there's levels of magnitude to each of this. It's just exceptional. Okay, so let's talk about the couple big results in the Premier League. One affects the title race. That is Man City beating Newcastle. I watched that game. I did not watch Chelsea versus Burnley. I did watch the extended highlights. That does impact the Champions League race because like we said, George, there's and also Aston Villa drew in the title race, which again we've always said it's more likely that they'll fall back into that race, and it'll be Man City, Arsenal in the title, and then 4 teams going for 3 Champions League spots. See how that plays out, George. Which of these 2 teams dropping points surprised you more, Chelsea or Aston Villa?
I will say Chelsea dropping points, I wasn't too surprised because remember when we did the preview yesterday, I told you the last 2 visits of Burnley to Stamford Bridge, they
Yeah,
got draws in those games. So that was why I was saying Chelsea must be very careful at the way they approach the game against Burnley. And we saw that happen today when they took the lead because imagine a team that got an early goal as early as 4th minute. You expect them to push more and try as much as possible to increase the lead. But when you don't increase your lead, then you give the opponent more confidence, especially team that sees themselves as underdog. You give them confidence to get into the game and believe they can do something. But one thing I must say, we must give credit to Burnley because defensively they did a very good job because they made a lot of blocks in that game. Credit must go to them. But one other thing again is that Palmer today was not at his best. Today he had a very abysmal performance in this match. He wasn't uh, at his best. He had few couple of chances that you expect the Palmer will oh no to put
yeah.
in the net, but he
Did
just couldn't do
Fofana
it.
was the red card deserved?
The red card was it was a well-deserved red card because that was an unnecessary tackle.
Yeah,
Uh, because if he had committed that kind of foul, maybe in the Chelsea's half, then it would be understandable. But committing that in the opponent's half, to me, it wasn't necessary.
yeah,
Knowing fully well that you're already on a yellow card, you're supposed to be more careful, more conscious. But that shouldn't even be an excuse because
yeah.
if Chelsea were leading by 2 or 3 goals, I'm sure maybe Wesley Fofana will not be under pressure to commit that kind of error. So
But
the
uh,
blame has to go to the team. And it's very unfortunate that most times when Chelsea gets a red card, they look a bit scared. They are not able to manage the pressure to see out the game,
you know
even
what,
when they
George?
play
George,
against those teams.
the answer is quite simple. You know why? Because they're young. And and it's the same reason they get the red cards because they're young. They're real. Wesley Fofana is a really talented player, and he's young. And there's no veteran leader in that locker room. The oldest player in there consistently, who Reece James, like who is absolutely a leader, but like there's no. I feel like these teams need internal leadership, and if you sign a bunch of players who are 22, 23, 24, which is what Chelsea have done, that growth that those young talents have, like your Cole Palmers, your Fofanas, who are absolutely exceptional talents, just don't grow in the same way that they would if they're next to those leaders that Chelsea have had in the past in terms of Terry and Lampard. But even after that, they've had in Jorginho, I felt was a great leader. Thiago Silva was a fantastic leader for them for a long time. There's no guys like that in the Chelsea locker room, and I feel like it's impacting team discipline and impacting the development of these players. So, and in a moment where Chelsea on talent 10 versus 11 at home should be even if they have up a goal, should still be a Chelsea. I would expect Chelsea to win that. And I felt like Chelsea is going to struggle the next couple of years. And I think that there's enough talent that they might do well in some cups. But in order to sustain a league challenge, that experience is necessary, is my personal.
No, the reality is, if you look at most teams that have dominated in leagues, most times you have lots of experienced players as their core players. Those are the ones who make things happen because those kind of player will give you consistent performance. But when you have more young players, they might be talented, but when it comes to consistency, they won't give that to you because they are still learning why they are playing. So I feel the Chelsea board need to revisit this and understand that this kind of model of trying to get young boys to make up the core of the team won't really help the team to win a league title. That will be very, very difficult. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I've realized. Anytime they just give them a red card and maybe they are leading by just a goal, just know that it's either they get a draw in that game or they lose the game. It happened when they played against Brighton.
I
They
think
got a red card and that was they just collapsed.
they're one red card away from the most red cards ever in a Premier League season. And the rest of the teams on that list, none of them were competing for a Champions League. They're all teams that are towards the bottom of the league. So again, that's something that Chelsea's going to have to fix. I'm not sure these players will grow out of it if they don't have a leader in the locker room to do that. I think Chelsea and it's going to be a really difficult problem for Chelsea. But we'll see. There's still a lot of talent. They still win a lot of games and have a chance in the Champions League and a chance to qualify. I feel like for the Champions League. But again, in my opinion, out of those four teams competing for three spots, they're the team that's out. Um, let's move on to Manchester City beating Newcastle 2-1. I watched this game. George, was there a standout player for you?
Well, the standout player for me, I would say it is Nico O'Reilly. If you ask me, from the Manchester City team, the guy was very, very good today, and I love the way he was fully involved in very fully involved in the game. And those 2 goals he scored, they were very intelligent goals. The first one, he just took the shot, and the ball went into the net. The second one was a very nice header from a cross from Erling Haaland. So the guy was very good today. For me, I would just pick him as the best player in the Manchester City team. Erling Haaland also did well when it comes to defensive duty. I was surprised. I saw Alan, he was so desperate to make sure the team wins. He was
Yeah,
going back, defending, and also I feel he overstretched himself today when it comes to going
I
extra mile
was
for the team.
I was really impressed with Holland because in the past, the criticism of Holland has been all he does is finish. And he's so good at finishing, who cares? But today, you were right, defensive contributions. On the first Nico O'Reilly goal, he made the outside run to drag the defender out to give the space to
Yes.
Nico O'Reilly. I still think Nick Pope should have saved that, but Nico O'Reilly definitely did great with the space given to him. But that was, Erling Holland drew out the defenders, made the run. And, I really appreciate this about Holland. As soon as the ball go, you could tell he wanted the ball in the moment because he's a striker. But as soon as the ball goes in, he was happy. He runs up to Nico O'Reilly, gives him a hug. I thought it was a really great character show by Holland. Super unselfish player after the fact, and the right level of selfishness that a striker needs to have. I think he's done great. But he also did several layoffs. He did a cross to Nico O'Reilly out wide for the second goal. So again, if Erling Holland starts to bring those into his game, he's 24. Like Harry Kane, what was he doing at 24? He was probably in his second or third season at Tottenham. I mean, Holland has a lot of room to grow, has the right mentality to grow, and I'm really excited to see what else he can bring into his game as he ages. Because strikers, I feel like are a position that peaks later than a lot of other positions, and really excited to see how he starts performing going forward. Very impressive for me. Mark Gahey, again, absolute rock today. I said a month ago, this is a good player getting a great wage, and he has proven me wrong. He has done exceptional in every game I've seen of City the last month since he signed. So good on him for stepping up into that role too. But Nico
So,
O'Reilly, huh? Go on.
how do you assess the performance of Antoine Semenyo today? I feel he had a couple of chances that he would have taken, but he just didn't take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, he was on the ball a lot. He was definitely causing issues. I think he was instructed to run at players. Um, Dan Burn is a player I feel like most Premier League players think they can run at. Paul Holland certainly took a lot of runs at him. Semenyo, you know, he didn't have much end product today. I do feel like it felt dangerous when he was on the ball. I don't think he had a bad game. I don't think he had a great game. I didn't really think about him being particularly bad or good until you just asked me. So
Stuff he was very very good. At least he made good passes, made good runs. Second half, I think he was a bit not at his best in the second half of the game. There were some he was taking too much time on the ball, and then there were some misplaced passes, and then there are chances he had that the scenario that I know would have converted, but most of the chances came to him in the Manchester City team. And those are chances that if he had converted, the pressure would have reduced on Manchester City. So I think maybe today was not his day, but that
yeah,
doesn't take away the fact that he's a very good player and he's a player that will help the team in the
and
future.
he scored like what 5, 6 goals in 8 games at City, so quite good. Yeah, interesting. I think Ryan Cherky came on for him later in the
Yes,
game.
yes, yes,
He
yes, yes,
came
yes.
on. I think it was for Semenyo. I forget who it was for. I think it was Semenyo. But
I think, yeah, right. Chucky came in for Semedo,
but
yeah. And then we had the Foden.
Manchester City
Uh,
has quite a lot of forwards, and I think it'll definitely be interesting to see them going forward. I think they're going to win the title, but we'll see. Let's close out today with a couple standard questions. Which team dropping points surprised you the most? Aston Villa, Chelsea, or of course the best team in England, Brentford? Um, which player stood out to you today on Manchester City? George said Nico O'Reilly. I said Holland. We both gave our reasons. Would love to hear yours. Number three, asked this yesterday, but North London Derby. Let us know your thoughts again, your predictions. I think Arsenal will be up for it. I think they'll drop points elsewhere in the season. But it's always a fun time watching the North London Derby. Let us know your thoughts and have a good one. Thanks for listening.